going to take a quick break from the Mercedes engine project to basically demonstrate how you can get a exhaust manifold stud reinstalled. This would work for any stud, but typically you're going to run into these with exhaust manifolds, right? This one, when I took the exhaust manifolds off the head, the nut came off with the manifold stud. So I've got to get that old nut off, that old copper lock nut off. In order to do that, I'm going to take two other nuts, and I'm going to put them on the other side of that stud, and I'm going to snug them down to each other. By putting my wrench against the inside nut there, now when I turn that bolt, the nut on the other end of the stud, what's going to happen is those two nuts that I put on are going to work against each other so that I can turn the stud. In this case, however, too much rust. So there's only one solution, and that's heat. Just to demonstrate about how long this takes, I'm going to show the whole heat up process. You need to be very careful with this. Don't set your workshop on fire. Don't set yourself on fire. I'm working fairly close proximity to some things here, but the stud is up far enough off of that table surface that it's not a problem, and my fire extinguisher is nearby. We're just going to keep the heat on that until it starts to get red. Now, some of the other studs I was able to get off without getting them quite this hot. Sometimes just a little bit of heat was all it needed. This one, however, cherry red was about the only way I could get this one to come off. So it doesn't take a terribly long time. You can see how long in this video, exactly how long it's taking, but you see it's getting nice and red. So once it's good and red like this, that should expand the metals enough to kind of break that bond that the rust has between the threads on the nut and the threads on the stud. And now we should be able to go ahead and zip that off. So to do that, I've got my impact all set up and ready to go. I'm going to put that on, stand clear, and boom, comes right off. No problem. Be very careful. That thing is a third-degree burn waiting to happen.
Whew.
Indeed. So now we got to get it put back on. After it cools down a little bit, we're going to take the stud and we're just going to thread it into the head, just like that. And then we're going to take and put one of our nuts on, same one that we were using before, right, to try to get everything apart. So we're going to go ahead and put that nut on and get it threaded down so we've got enough thread on the stud that we can put a second one on. This time we're going to use that nut on the top. The nut on the top will push against the one on the bottom after we snug them up like this. And then we can use our torque wrench to go ahead and make sure that stud is in exactly where it needs to be, just like this. So, all right, wait for it. Click, click. There it is. And now we just take those nuts back off, being careful not to turn the stud, and our stud's installed.